Welcome back to Mind the Microsoft Gap. I'm Nick Thomas.
And I'm Chris Threlfall. Today we're diving into something that we spend a lot of time thinking about in our world, which is end user computing.
Yeah, so virtual desktops, AVD, Citrix, cloud PCs, whatever flavor of EUC you're working with.
If you've been in IT long enough, you'll remember when VDI was a big, expensive, slightly terrifying project.
Yeah, and now it's becoming the backbone of secure hybrid work.
Yeah, we work with organizations every day who are trying to balance security with like cost, user experience, and scalability. And EUC sits right in the middle of that, really.
It is. So today we want to unpack the evolution. So where it started, what's changed, and what we're seeing on the ground, especially in managed services.
And joining us is Reece, who works across multiple customer environments. So this isn't theory, this is actually what's happening.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast, Reece.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Glad to see you. So Reece, let's jump straight in. When people hear the term virtual desktops, I think they still picture VDI in 2012. Slow logons, clunky experience, really expensive infrastructure. But we know that the world's now changing. So can you just give us a kind of high level of what's different now?
Yeah. I mean, going back to 2012, maybe it was before I even entered IT, but even in the 8 years I've been in IT, working with technologies like Citrix and Microsoft technologies, it's improved rapidly, I think, especially in the last 4 to 5 years, with the likes of Microsoft coming on board with their technology, such as AVD. And I think COVID had a massive part to play in the last few years when, remote working became almost the norm for a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the competition between, now that you have Citrix owned the market for a long time, there were other solutions, but with Microsoft coming on now, I think the productivity between those companies is just increasing, and the battling to win the customers. So, yeah, I think competition's good, drives a lot of innovation. Yeah.
Yeah, as always. Yeah. I think COVID impacted everything in IT, didn't it? Just rocketed everything. Whether that was good or bad, really.
Yeah, it turned out remote working was a technical solution, that was quite possible in a lot of avenues. I mean, I remember working for an IT MSP at the time, and working from home was never really thought about, and you're like, well, why not? We go into this office and we connect to a SaaS solution that we use, and we're on, a phone system that's VoIP. Why are we coming into the office sometimes, So I think, that did make people sit down and think about, like, okay, so we don't necessarily want to ship out £1,000 devices to some of our end users. How do we let them work in a secure environment without worrying that they're going to, take it to Starbucks and get all the company passwords leaked and all this kind of stuff? So, yeah, it does kind of make sense that people would then be like, right, okay, it's time to invest in this. This is actually a valuable piece of, infrastructure going forward.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. They're like, shipping out laptops where if people are using them just locally, it could be an unsecured browser that's not been patched, and you're having to do a lot of device management, which is obviously a huge part of IT anyway. But by having a virtualized environment like Citrix or AVD, it's a lot easier for IT teams to secure those machines, and people just connect straight to them. And, especially if you're working for a financial company processing financial transactions, you don't want that being done on a laptop in a coffee shop. So, yeah.
No,
for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Good to touch on security there. I think we'll come on to it in a bit more depth shortly. But so I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but from what you're seeing is it's more EUC now is about delivering this seamless digital experience, especially with hybrid working, because people are jumping around on home machines maybe and using some kind of virtual gateway in.
Or thin clients or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then maybe coming into the office on a hot desk and using shared machines. So the focus has shifted to DEX and workspace intelligence. What are you actually deploying more of at the moment?
Citrix is still a massive part of this space. It's got, it's been around for a long time. They've had time to develop a lot of solutions, and it still works best for, I would say, yeah, it all depends on the use case of what the customer needs, I think, at the end of the day, right? So if you're in a hospital, for example, if you tend to see quite a lot of thin clients with them, because then people can just move around, can log into the thin client, that connects to a virtual desktop, and then they've got everything they need there. And with thin clients, obviously, like, the hardware doesn't need to be upgraded that much because it's just running a connection to the virtual machine. So increases the longevity before you need to, swap those devices out, which is always good. But I think AVD is definitely becoming a lot more prevalent now. A lot more customers are seeing the value in that, especially with AVD being included in like the E3 or E5 licenses. It's already part of what they're paying for when they're using the Microsoft product. So we're definitely seeing a lot more customers think about AVD for sure. But as a whole, I think the biggest thing we're seeing is a lot of customers are moving away from the traditional data centers or in-house infrastructure, whether it be VMware, Hyper-V, whatever. And I think, the cloud adoption strategy is seems to be the way forward. But yeah.
So more SaaS or DaaS, I suppose, rather than like you say, people actually hosting their own infrastructure. There's a lot more cloud solutions now, like with everything, I suppose.
Yeah, I think there's huge environmental impacts between the cloud solutions. The data centers are already there, the racks are already built, the servers are already built. Whereas if it all comes back to scalability as well. If I'm a client and then suddenly I get an influx of end users, if I've got an on-premise site, I'm going to have to order new equipment, put that in, just configure it all, and then set up the VMs. Where if you're in a cloud tenant, it's very, very easy to
just you can auto scale a lot of it, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you can take that into account. I think, like you're saying about it shifting into a more hybrid or even cloud-first approach, it's almost propped up by the advancement of like internet infrastructure. So I think some of the reason why that's happening is because it's just possible now, whereas before it wasn't. Like, it would make sense if you're in a remote office somewhere in an industrial estate that's got terrible internet or survivable internet, that you would host your own servers, absolutely, and maybe one or two people remotely would be going backwards and forwards. But with FTTP and all that kind of stuff, pretty commonplace, it's just possible. So why would you maintain this huge unsightly server rack in the corner of your office if you can just offload that and maybe even save some money at the same time?
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah,
100%. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on. From a managed services perspective, if you work in that arm of our business, what would you say separates the organizations that are thriving with EUC compared to those that you see constant repetitive struggles?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is the business's ability to adapt quickly. In IT, I'm sure you guys are aware, even in your side, stuff changes very quickly. We just had Windows 10 go end of life, so that's a huge thing, moving people across. But yeah, I think the customers that adapt quickly and think proactively about what's our environment going to look like in the next 6 months, in the next year, it gives them ability to, right, we can plan these upgrades or whatever it might be in advance, and then keeping everything up to date. You usually see that those customers have a lot less tickets logged for incidents or anything like that. Whereas if you start falling behind and, you know, your infrastructure's lagging behind, then stuff doesn't work as well. Yeah. So trying to implement stuff like Copilot or OneDrive onto older operating systems, you tend to see quite a few issues and stuff like that.
Yeah. So it sounds like it boils down to like everywhere being proactive rather than reactive.
Yeah.
You don't even have to be ahead of the curve. It's just staying with it and make sure you're not dropping behind. And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think there's always maybe some worry from businesses that, you know, updating to the latest thing straight away is, you know, it might cause some issues, but I think for the most part, it does keep the environment stable, running. And the most important thing is the user experience. If your end users are having a poor experience with the software, like, you're going to know about it, and yeah, keeping those end users happy. They just want a seamless experience. You know, they don't need to or really care about where the stuff's being provisioned from. They're like, you know, if it's in London or wherever, like, they don't need to know where that desktop's being launched from. But you know, for the IT teams, it's all about the end user just wants to open the laptop, press a button, and get on working wherever that might be. So
yeah.
Do you think that some of the reluctance is just because some companies maybe, or IT departments or IT professionals maybe just stuck in the ways of, but we always send out laptop builds, this is just how we do it, why would we kind of, you know, why would we move that way? Do you see a lot of that, or is that not so much? Have people really started to embrace the idea now?
Not too much. And again, like, you know, if that's your use case, sometimes it might be best just to have laptops with Intune and MDM, like, you know, that just might work for your business, but not for everyone. Yeah, I think sorry, I'm not sure.
It's an interesting one where like the line gets drawn on it, really, because like you can kind of see it from both sides. As some people are like, well, yeah, we're going to need a laptop anyway to get on it, right? So it depends on the business itself, doesn't it, really? Because I think we as an organization use both as well, don't we? So it depends on your role within it.
I think you need the most important thing is the security of it. So you know, like, you're going to have a method to connect to these virtual desktops anyway, whether that's a phone, a tablet, laptop. That still needs to be secure to a point, but the centralization of having a virtual desktop somewhere where the admin knows exactly what's on there, knows exactly what security policies are applied, all the browsers are up to date.
That's where the data's stored, right? That's where the data's physically stored over syncing it to a device that's outside of the environment. Or,
exactly.
You know, within the environment, but physically outside of the environment.
Yeah.
So cool. Everyone is talking about AI at the moment. We can't do a podcast in a moment. I mean, we did an episode on AI, didn't we, really recently, Chris?
We thought, that would cover it all. Nope.
So everyone's talking about it, and everyone is saying it's transforming IT. Are you seeing that in the EU space or EUC space, or is it just a bit of marketing at the moment?
No, I think it's definitely getting involved. Every company's trying to get their own large language models implemented into whatever solution they've got. I know Citrix have the Citrix Adrian coming out soon. and that's not necessarily a tool for people like the end users that use Citrix, but they've said that that's going to be a tool used for people managing Citrix, the IT teams, to help them, resolve issues or whatever it might be. And then on the other hand, you've got Copilot. So obviously a lot of these new desktops that are being provisioned, virtual or not, Windows 11 or of the like, it's going to come with Copilot. And obviously if the business decides to license that for quite a few users, then they're going to be using that. But there needs to be a lot of, I think, upskilling and training of those users to make sure they're not copying in data that they shouldn't be, and policies should block that kind of things anyway. But yeah, there's even the question of maybe not just now, but in a few years' time. I mean, it's almost scaling up exponentially at this point. But like, will you be provisioning virtual desktops for non-human workers, in a couple of years' time, and just have virtual desktops that agent like AI agents are running on and working from?
Right.
We're already seeing that. It's like starting to happen, right? With AIs that can use, there was a terminology that they have for it, but that could use a computer like a person, so clicks and keyboard strokes over being programmatic. So that's something you probably wouldn't have even thought. Oh yeah, they're going to need computers. You're not going to ship a laptop to an AI, are you?
Yeah, exactly. So again, that's just replacing, but it's more costs in that way. You're having to provision that compute somewhere.
We can get AI to provision it for an AI.
Yeah,
goes round in a circle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Cool.
And then the AI can reach out to the tier 1 AI support agent. It's a mad thing to think about, isn't it? But something like this could potentially happen, within years.
Especially with these, like you said, the individual agents that you can assign them their own roles, and that's what they'll do. You have a security AI engineer. It's crazy.
It is, yeah. Okay, so let's move on to, we briefly touched on or mentioned DEX platforms at the start. So none of what works without visibility. So how are those teams actually getting that level of insight, and how has that moved on recently?
Yeah, so there's multiple solutions out there, but the one that we use here at the moment, and I love this piece of tech, but Control Up is a fully digital employee experience platform. It allows for monitoring of certain things. You can run triggers based on circumstances, and you can have that, restart machines, services, whatever it might be. But the insights that it gives you into a machine level, so say on a VM, like a Citrix machine, if it's running slower, it's going to alert you, and then you can go and have a look at what users are using what processes, everything. And then going beyond that, if you use stuff like their Edge DX agent, which is in Control Up, you can put that on local laptops, and then that will then give you the insight of network connectivity between the local machine and the virtual machine, so you can see all sorts of latency. So, if you're an IT service desk engineer and you get a call saying, "Oh, my desktop's slow, but everything looks fine on the machine end," you've got insight into the, their actual local machine then and the network connection. And their integration now with not just Citrix but AVD. There's insights you can get for AVD where it even shows you the frames dropped for the user session, and it shows you the average FPS and everything. It's very good.
So I suppose that probably comes down to the way people are using it, and like Chris said earlier about, a lot of people now hopefully having high-speed internet, so people might even be using virtual machines for video editing and music production, any kind of media.
If the bandwidth for it is how fast you can send and receive inputs
Yeah.
and audio, video, and that's what you need, right?
Yeah, and you need to capture things like frame rates. Then some people might think, why would that matter if you're dropping a frame? But if you're doing video production, then
I mean, I think we have a client who works among stocks, right? And so they measure that kind of things to make sure that they're trading second by second almost, these traders.
Right.
So
Didn't even think
every little performance you get on these
frame rate to drop
I'm thinking
and then lose £100,000.
Yeah, Reece is talking real world stock trading.
Yeah, but I think video editing and that kind of stuff is maybe what we see less in this virtual desktop infrastructure. I mean, Citrix's HDX protocol is quite advanced now and gives you very good. You could run like a 4K video and whatnot. And it just looks like it's on your laptop now. But
it's crazy, isn't it?
And AV increased definitely over the past 2 years to meet that standard now.
The
RDP protocol and RDP short path as well. So the protocols are they're only getting better every month, I think.
Yeah. Cool. Right, we'll talk about the other elephant in the room, shall we? Which is security. We've only got 5 minutes or so left, so we better talk about potentially the most important thing. Security and compliance, I suppose.
I mean, it's the big. I think, like you said, the elephant in the room, right? It's not many people want to talk about it, and security teams for organisations are just getting bigger and bigger. And as more red tape comes in, it might be more difficult to do things, but I think it's necessary, right? We've seen over the past 2 years a massive increase in cyber attacks, data leaks, whatever it might be. So people really need to, definitely put a massive focus on security. Whether that's ghost applications or ghost software that people are installing, you need to be able to control that. But I think it comes back to centralization, right? You want to know where everything's being done, and you don't want people in your organization running stuff and doing stuff without your knowledge. Because
it's fine. It's that fine balance, isn't it? I think we probably spoke about it a fair bit, Chris, when we did our identity governance episode. But like zero trust is no longer optional. It's the baseline now, isn't it?
Yeah, the bare minimum.
If you're not doing that first, then you're doing something very wrong.
And it's finding that fine balance between ensuring like you say, you've got a really strict and secure environment, and that's not just for the company, that's for the employee as well, for the users, but also ensuring that they have a good end user experience.
So I think, like you're saying, right, a user doesn't want to have to log into the laptop with 2FA and then open something else and log into that with 2FA. So SSO comes in handy, right? Being able to pass through, but again, that needs to be made secure. So it's
better to have one tougher MFA than several weaker ones to appease, a potentially annoying end user scenario for sure. So using things like location based checking, making sure Bluetooth tick keys, a whole shebang, to kind of identify you from that side of things. Yeah, absolutely.
Using like the conditional access policies and stuff, right?
Within Entra. Use Entra. CA policies.
I mean, we even have like customers who use Citrix, right? And they use Microsoft's Entra ID as an authentication method, so you can protect it via that to make sure those conditional access policies are working. But it's finding that balance, I think. But
do you find there's maybe like a slightly smaller risk from a virtual environment because there's less to patch and maintain compared to 1,000 laptops out on,
Yeah, definitely. And
or,
the issue you can have with laptops, right? If you've rolled out laptops and somebody's not logged into that laptop or even powered it on, it's not going to get those updates until it's powered on, and at that point it might be too late. If there's like a 0-day vulnerability or something like that. But yeah,
whereas you
I
can
think
jump straight on it, and you've got rigorous processes in place to ensure they're up to date. And I'm guessing if there's 0-day patch, it needs to be on there ASAP.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, with the virtualization of desktops and images that can be rolled out, you just have to patch the one image and roll it out to everyone. Then, and then everyone's machines has got the same patches, the same security, and there's tools to track what compliance tools, which devices are missing what. So yeah,
nice.
Does help the sprawl of different types of hardware as well, doesn't it? If it's all virtualized and you know what it is, you haven't got, we can only afford Lenovo's this time, just to pick a random one out.
Probably the most expensive ones, Chris.
Yeah, I know. Not the Lenovo's I used to work with. They were not. But yeah, and then you're like, now we've got to roll out 2 different driver management solutions to get the latest graphics drivers updated, and at least it kind of pulls out a lot of that side of things, I suppose, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Fair enough. Before we wrap up, I think we'll have to get you back on, Reece, to have another chat and talk about go into some other areas in depth if you're happy to come back on and join us and you've not been scared.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No,
it's not been as terrifying as you thought.
No, it's been good. I appreciate you having me on.
Cool.
Yeah.
So where are you seeing just kind of briefly, where are you seeing things going, if that's not putting you on the spot?
No, I think it's always hard to tell in tech, right? It changes very quickly. But I think definitely these massive companies like Microsoft, Citrix, AWS, they're all offering these cloud solutions now. Citrix not necessarily like the hosting side of it, but even though with the DAS offering now, it means a lot less on-prem infrastructure. So I think definitely businesses will continue moving to the cloud. Some might still be hesitant because, even moving to the cloud, there's not 100% chance that there's not going to be an outage, right? So that then comes into the question of, do I need to distribute things across both Azure and AWS, or do I use multiple regions in Azure? So it's that DR scenario of what happens if everything in London goes down. Can I fail over to Germany or the US or whatever it might be? But I think cloud adoption is still probably what I see most people moving towards.
Yeah, cool. So am I safe to say virtual desktops aren't going away? They're just becoming smarter, lighter, and probably more connected to the tools people already use.
Yeah, I think so. And I don't know, short on time, but just briefly, Citrix have the Citrix Secure Desktop now. So even if you've got web apps and stuff, you don't have to open Citrix and launch a virtual app. They have a secure browser that you can just run these apps from virtually. So definitely, whether it's a full desktop or just these virtual browsers, essentially, I think that's the way forward. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Right, we better wrap up. Thank you again.
My pleasure. No, thank you for having me.
Probably clear that the winners are the ones that are going to be proactive and use AI and cloud and combine everything to deliver a great outcome for everyone. Great user experience.
Yeah. It's moving towards a more kind of OpEx approach rather than a CapEx kind of thing. So it's this is becoming part of your operational expense and operational ongoing capacity rather than we need to pay to get a load of machines in, or we need to pay to get a new, VDI server in or something like that. So
Yeah,
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, cool. Right. So if it's if there's one thing that's clear, it's that EUC isn't about platforms anymore. It's about operational maturity.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much, Reece.
No, thank you guys. Yeah, pleasure.
We'll catch up soon.
We'll see you again. Cheers.
Cool. Take care.